The term boundaries is now being used a lot. Sometimes I feel it's being overused to the point of neglecting our true self. Here's what I mean. When we are not aware, when we are not setting boundaries with ourselves, with our old self, with our ego, and we do not respect our boundaries, people around you will not respect your boundaries. You might still state your boundaries to someone else. Hey, I'm not available for you anymore. Da, 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 da. And maybe they will listen to you. But are you still happy? Are you still at peace with yourself? Or are you still feeling triggered or attracting the same kind of people in your life? What I've noticed is many people will set these boundaries with others. And sure, they're successful in cutting off the connection or reducing the exposure to someone. But after they do that, they're still unhappy. They're still not at peace. They're still attracting those kind of people in which they have set boundaries upon. You might verbalize your boundaries, or you might tell someone your boundaries and set some rules and conditions, but you might not be listening to your true self, and you might not be following your own boundaries. When I first started learning about boundaries, I began to set boundaries upon certain kind of people who were constantly hurting me. And I did not set boundaries from a place of love. I set boundaries from a place of fear and a lot of trigger. While at that time it was necessary because I really wanted my space, I was still not clear with what I wanted. To me, that's boundaries, and that should solve it. But no. Yes, I had the time to work on my issues, but at the same time, I was still attracting similar people who have hurt me in the past. I did not set boundaries from a place of love. I did not recognize what I really wanted, and I thought I should do that. Now, if I had set boundaries from a place of love and knowing what I want, my journey around those suffering probably would have shortened so much more. This is why I say it's really important to come from a place of love, come from a place of self-respect, which means you need to take your time and space to create the right boundaries for you. If you are at the state of being very hurt, experiencing a lot of hurt, you might want to set some quick, instant boundaries to reduce that exposure, but at the same time, take the time and space to set the real boundaries that align with who you are and that does not serve your past anymore, that does not serve your ego anymore in a negative way. So when it comes to creating boundaries for yourself, the first thing is get into a calm state, a loving state. And there are many ways to do it. You can do it through meditation, through something you really love doing, dancing, singing, writing, anything you feel that brings you that calm, loving state, the kind of love that fills your body up, that makes you smile happily with joy and just feeling the love. If you struggle with that, that's completely fine. You can still feel some sense of calm and start creating boundaries from there, because the moment you start from that space, the more it will expand. Your calmness will expand, your anxiety will go, it will be released, and the more love you have for yourself, because at this point you are choosing to align with yourself. You're choosing to align with love and to let go of the old that does not serve you anymore. For example, when it comes to relationships, especially romantic relationships, my boundary was and is, I will not be spoken to disrespectfully. I do not accept when my partner expresses his frustrations on me as if I'm being blamed. I do not agree with that. First and foremost, I must honor my own boundary because there's energy in it, right? I choose to honor my boundary, my energy. When I choose that, it then radiates outwardly. It's expressed universally, materially in the physical world. And so, from my experience, my partner started to honor that as well. If I did not honor my own boundary and expected him to honor it, it's not going to work that way because there's expectation in the outcome and I'm not fully validating my own boundaries. I'm not fully present in my own boundaries. So in order to honor your own boundaries, what I mean by being present with your boundaries, honoring your energy, is simply embodying it. And what embody means is, how do you feel when you are loved? How do you feel when you are sad? Sometimes it takes up your whole space, your whole body, right? And so when it comes to embodying your boundaries, you are stating that to your heart, to the universe. You are applying it. Like you're taking the bicycle, going on the bicycle and riding the bicycle instead of standing next to the bicycle thinking you want to bike, but then you're not biking it. So it's the same thing with boundaries. You cannot stand on the side of your boundary expecting the boundaries will work on its own when you are not present with your boundaries. And I think that was a really good example. So thank you. Thank you for that. If it's a struggle, practice. Start somewhere. So many people, when they face that struggle or that slight block, they take a step back because they think they cannot do it, or it doesn't work, or they're too afraid to take a step forward. And so they stay in their comfortable zone. At the same time, those who stay in the comfortable zone, they want a quick overnight magic pill to fix things quickly. So for them to see the small step, to appreciate the small step, to acknowledge the small step is a struggle because they think it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal, and at the same time, it's too difficult to take that step. So no matter how small or big the step is, take the first step. Your discomfort will only expand into comfort as you take that first step. And even when you take that first step, you are showing commitment to yourself. When you show commitment to yourself, to the universe, doors will start to open, your path starts to expand, your mind starts to expand. So keep moving forward, okay? Start somewhere. If you feel stuck, use your intuition. Leave a comment here, drop a question. I will get back to you. I will help you out. Next thing, number 2, after you draw boundaries for yourself, communication is important, okay? So many people are in the realm of boundaries, but not many people talk about communication, effective communication. As you start to speak up your truth without expectation, without judgment, people will start to hear you, no matter how many excuses you have for yourself to not do that. And I say this with truth and experience. I have shut down my voice for so many years with all sorts of excuses. They will not understand. They will not hear me. They will not get it. And so many other things, so many other excuses I had. But the moment I spoke with my truth and honored myself, loved myself, and communicated my truth, to my surprise, people started to hear me. I still assume that no one will listen to me when I speak my truth. But people started to listen. The only way people will listen is if I hear my voice, I validate my feelings, and I speak with truth. In that truth, there's no judgment, no criticism. Maybe fear exists because afraid of speaking up. But if you stay true to yourself and you speak your truth, people will hear you. So as you set those boundaries, communicate your truth to your loved ones, to your partner, whether it is the experience you're going through or you just want to state your boundaries, or both, whichever suits you best. That has no place for fear and judgment, only love. So if you're scared to share your experience, but you know it's from love, share it. The more you do this, the more comfortable you become and the more expansive your mind is. You start to pick up communication skills. You start to pick up on how to really create strong boundaries for yourself that supports your highest purpose, which is also unconditional love. If you still struggle with those, ask yourself, do you want to spend so many years struggling with people disrespecting you, not having a harmonious and loving relationship? Or do you want to make the change now so you can enjoy a beautiful life with loving and supportive people around you? If you have any questions, I invite you to drop a comment below.